welcome everyone to another InventRight TV show. We have a very special guest on the day. His name is Otto, and he is an InventRight student, and he's licensed 5 products, and he has another deal that's just about to be closed, so we can pretty much say 6, right, Otto?
Yep,
Hopefully.
we're getting there.
You know,
Hopefully.
you know it doesn't always. You've been doing this for a little while now, so you know it doesn't. You never fully count on it until it's signed.
Never
right?
a guarantee until it's signed, and still not a guarantee after that.
Still not a guarantee. Yeah. So you've really built up some companies that you work with because you've licensed all your products for the lack of a better term, they're not. There's some for indoors and outdoors, but I used to define them as lawn games. But some of your products now can be played inside too. But that gives people an idea of what types of games. Can you hold up the Bocce one?
Sure.
It was a unique twist on Bocce. Am I pronouncing that right, by the way?
Some people like tomato. Some people say Bocce, some say Bocce.
Okay, so that's one of your products. And so, how is this different than regular Bocce? I'm noticing the pieces are square.
Right. Yeah, so it's a whole new twist to Bocce. The square cubes, it started out as a kind of a lawn dice game, which I was working on, and then I kind of brought it in with Bocce, which works really good. So now when you roll these dice, you get the erratic bounce and skips on it compared to a ball. So, it gives a whole new twist to the game.
Yeah. And I was asking you about this before we got on. I mean, are most of these games, most inventions, I think, are variations of something that's already out there. So you've got this twist on Bocce. You've got a new one with Horseshoes. They're all a variation of something that's already out there. So do you know what your process is? Or are you like a lot of inventors? You're like, I don't know. I look at games. I come up with ideas. Do you have a process?
I'd say both. Sometimes they come out of nowhere, but when I don't have an idea, I like looking at what's out there, see what's missing, and trying maybe to combine 2 games sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. They just come out of nowhere really quick.
That's pretty common. You have another one. Can you show the Horseshoes one? That's
Sure.
pretty cool.
Sure. So they named this one Swinging Shoes. So it's basically a vertical horseshoe game that is hung from the door or from any surface that has that you can clamp onto, and you're basically throwing horseshoes onto platforms, and then you can get ringers, hangers. So there's many different ways to score points.
And look from the picture, it doesn't look like it's hanging from a door, but it does hang from a door.
Yes,
I
it
was
does.
initially confused by that.
Yeah, there's just a little picture up there showing.
Yeah. Yeah. So what made you want to get into games? You've licensed a bunch of games. Do you just like the fun factor? Did you always like playing games, or you just like inventing games?
Yep, both.
Both, okay.
So yeah, growing up, definitely spent a lot of time with family playing games, a lot of yard games, and I've owned my own business doing tile and stone for 29 years now, and wanted to do something that was on the fun side. So I figured if I got into games, it'd be a little easier for me to make prototypes.
You mean coming up with inventions is more fun than getting down on your hands and knees and laying tile?
No, that's why I'm still doing tile. I like it.
Oh, you do like tile. Okay. But
No.
it's backbreaking work, isn't it?
It is. Yeah, I definitely I like creating. I do.
That's cool. So you went on recently. You got on the Today Show. How did that happen? Or you didn't get your product got on the Today Show? Right?
Yeah. Last minute, my licensee just gave me a call and said, "Don't tell anybody, but I think it's going to be on tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock. We're not for sure." So it did pop on, and it was with 7 other products outdoors. So it got probably a good 30 seconds on there, but
That's not bad. It's not bad at all. And is it part of this whole like COVID thing? I'm noticing a lot of TV spots and articles about, being with your family, doing things at home, card games, puzzles, lawn games, things like that. Did you get in on that with your licensee did?
Yeah, basically, what can you do outdoors, and keep active.
Mm-hmm.
So That's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Steve and I interviewed this gentleman for one of our webinars, and he was doing a volleyball net that had four sides to
I
it.
did see that.
And he was the same thing. It was like, what are you going to do with your kids outdoors? During COVID and all that, and that's I think one of the reasons why his business is taking off. So it's a good category right now, I think. What do you think?
Yeah, it is. I know my crazy bocce sold out earlier this summer too fast, and it took a month to get more inventory. So
Wow,
it
that's
has been a
great.
good summer. Yeah.
That's great. What do you see with these types of products? Do you see some of them as being long term evergreens, as they say, or are they kind of things that might come in for 2 years or 3 years and then disappear? What's your take on these products?
Yeah. We'll find out. I'm not sure. I mean, I'm hoping.
Yeah,
The crazy bocce, I was told, he thought that was being evergreen. You really don't know until you see what happens, out there.
I don't think they know totally either.
No, I don't think so either. But if I in a few years, if I have 10 of them out there, I hope one or two of them is.
Yeah. So what's your long term inventing goals? Are you going to eventually quit doing custom tile work and stuff, and then just invent full time? Like, what's your long term goals? Your big picture stuff. I always trip out when people ask me that. It's kind of a big question, but what are your
Sure.
thoughts?
Yeah, that's definitely what I'd like to do. Basically as a semi-retired, from tile, and then be able to do games. And I'm going to stick with the game category until I get bored with it, but I don't think I'm going to get bored with it for a long time. So,
Yeah, it's a fun category. What can you talk a little bit about the difference between when you're early on, new to pitching these games to these game companies, and how that was different then and how it's different now, where you've got a list of companies that you regularly approach with new products. How's that changed? How did you set that up? And what do you think of that? Is it good? Maybe some good sides to it, some bad sides to it. I don't know.
well, I'm old school. I'm still making cold calls.
Good.
Yeah, that doesn't bother me. So, and it's nice to meet people and talk to them. And I don't have a problem really getting all the companies. I guess I haven't called a lot of them lately because most of the games I pitched have been with companies that I've been working with for the last few years. So no one new recently. But has it changed since I started?
For
I'm
you
sure it
personally,
has.
it's
Huh?
diff- it's different. I mean, just to be able to come up with an idea if you know it's right for the, let's say, 5 companies, however many companies you regularly work with, and just send it to them. That's great. Doesn't sound like you're afraid of reaching out to companies either.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that part don't bother me at all.
Okay.
Um, I
Did
enjoy
it
it.
early on when you first got started?
A little bit, but
Not a
just getting
lot.
used to it.
Okay, that's good.
It was never a big deal. Probably the first few calls was.
Now, when you approach a company, like let's say of the, I don't know how many companies you typically have relationships with. Let's just make up a number. Let's say 5. So if you approach let's say only 3 of them match their product line, because you don't want to send products to a company that
Sure.
doesn't match their product line, right? But let's
Right.
say 3 of them, it's a good match. And this particular product you're sending, none of them are biting. Do you then push it out to a bunch of companies you don't have close relationship with yet, but then you don't go, oh, well, I'll just forget about it then. You push it out to more?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Always look for a new company.
Okay.
Yep. Um, yeah. Go with who I know first, and then go out from there. I still have 3 or 4 products sitting on the side that I just haven't got out yet, and a couple big companies I'd like to send to, but I just haven't got there yet. So.
Well, since you're so good at doing these games, what do you feel for those? I think your approach and everything we've talked about thus far applies to anybody. But let's talk about one specific thing for games. Do you find that a sell sheet is great to understand the game? Do they need to have a video? Do they need to see the fun factor? Do they need to see it in action? And does that mean you need to create a prototype when sometimes you don't? Or do you just go with the sell sheet with the visuals and see if they're intrigued by the general concept? What do you like to do with games?
Yeah, I've always done prototypes, sell sheet for sure, but a video is definitely a plus. I mean, if you can show that it's, the fun in the game, playing it and how it works, that's definitely helps a lot.
What do you do? Do you get some kids? Do you get some adults? Do you just
Yeah,
do it yourself? Do you just show it without people in it? What do you do?
it's a lot harder than it used to be because I don't have any kids around. So yeah, it's hard to rent kids nowadays. So a lot of my videos are very simple and just basically maybe nobody even in them, just showing how the game works.
Right.
Just, you
So
know,
you've been successful without, you know, family and friends like getting crazy and laughing and having big smiles and doing like the commercial, more just
sure.
functional showing, and they're able to see
Right.
enough like, oh, we could see how that would be fun.
Yep.
Okay. That's nice. That's interesting.
I would say my first few games were just sell sheets, and then in the last couple of years, I've been doing more and more videos. So
Yeah. Okay. All right. Any other what is, if you had to share one thing with our audience, when if somebody's like, I've never licensed a product, I've never called a single company before, never filed a PPA, haven't made a sell sheet, haven't made my list of companies. It could be big picture or detailed. It doesn't have to be all encompassing. If there was one thing you would share off the top of your head, what would you say it would be? You'd share with a new inventor.
I think you have to be a true believer in the process altogether. You know, when I got into this, it was an industry I knew nothing about at all, but I really wanted to do it no matter what it took. So you do have to believe, commit, and then you just make adjustments as you go because there's always changes that are being made.
Yeah. So what you're saying is you can't just believe in the product, you have to believe in the licensing process.
Yeah.
In this
And all
case,
the
what
steps
you're
that go
using
along
our
with it.
10-step system, and
Yep.
you have to believe in that.
Yep.
Um,
And
yeah,
yourself, a lot of confidence and,
yeah,
good attitude, confidence,
yeah.
big plus.
Has it? How has it made you feel to license almost 6 products now? How, is it like, it's just normal now, just another one, or is it still a rush? Is it? How does it
It,
feel?
it's a great feeling. It really is.
Yeah,
Because I put a lot of effort into it and I'm starting to see, all my effort into it come out. So it's a great feeling. And I think it always will be every product that comes out. So
that's good. That's good to know.
yeah.
I think that's helps people definitely. All right. Well, Otto, thank you so much. It's been really people really appreciate when folks like you come on and share and say, just my experience. You're just very down to earth about things. Very matter of fact. I can tell you have a work ethic. I think your work ethic probably took you a long way,
Right.
and you were able to transfer that from doing tile to doing this, and it's very different. But a work ethic's a work ethic. This is what I need to do. You said I believed in the process, and I just kept moving forward. And you probably saw things along the way that made you keep believing in the process. You got a little inkling from a company. Okay, well that didn't work, and hopefully you went to a positive place. Maybe sometimes you didn't, but it was sometimes you went to a
There
negative.
was times I went backwards big time. I mean, my
Yeah,
very first product, I had a licensing deal. I was pumped. It's like, oh, I finally did it. It was like 3 years into it, and it went sour. It just my heart dropped. I'm like, oh my gosh, it was the weirdest feeling, and that it took me a whole another year before I did
and
license.
you kept going, and
Oh yeah,
that would be your advice to people. I mean, you'll have ups and downs, and just keep
oh yeah,
pushing if you believe in your product and believe in the process.
yep,
And believe in
definitely,
yourself too. I'm getting all
yes,
three of those from you, by the way. I don't know if you said, but you said believe in the process, believe in the product, and believe in yourself.
yeah,
That's
yeah. I think you really do have to believe in yourself because basically we can all do things, if we believe in ourselves, anything we want to, really. So,
yeah, yeah, great. Well, thank you
and
so.
I've
Go ahead.
learned a lot of things along the way that I've challenged myself in many different ways that I've never had before. So it's been great experience all around.
Good, good. I think everybody needs to hear that. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Otto, and thank you everybody for listening in. I want to remind everybody to take care, keep inventing, and we'll catch up with you next time. See you
Thank
guys.
you, Andrew.
Thank you, Otto.